So, today's episode of Life with Yoda. Jokes. I got jokes. What did one butt cheek say to the other? Together we can stop this shit. Me being rude. Shut the fuck up. Me being polite. Please shut the fuck up. What did the hurricane say to the coconut palm tree? Hold on to your nuts. This is no ordinary blowjob. What is 6 inches long, 2 inches wide, and drives females crazy? $100 bill. What do the mafia and a pussy have in common? One slip of the tongue and you're in some deep shit. A guy walks into the store to buy a box of condoms. The cashier asks him, would you like a bag? He thinks about it and says, nah, she's not that ugly. Cowboy Indian riding along. Indian jumps off his horse, puts his ears to the ground, looks up at the cowboy and says, buffalo come. The cowboy looks down, looks around, goes back and he goes, wow, that's amazing. How did you know? Indian says, ear sticky. What's the difference between a tire and 365 used condoms? One's a good year and the other's a great year. Why does Santa have such a big sack? Because he only comes once a year. What's the difference between a hooker and a drug dealer? The hooker can wash her crack and resell it. What do your girlfriend and laxatives have in common? They both irritate the shit out of you. What's the best part of gardening? Getting down and dirty with the hose. Why do vegetarians give the best head? Because they're used to eating nuts. What's the difference between your wife and your job? After 5 years, your job will still suck. What's the difference between a peepee Tom and a pickpocket? A pickpocket will snatch your watch, and a Tom will watch your snatch. What's the difference between your dick and a bonus check? Someone's always willing to blow your bonus check. How is life like a penis? Your girlfriend always makes it hard. What do boobs and toys have in common? They were both originally designed for kids, but daddies always end up playing with them. What did the O say to the Q? Dude, your dick's hanging out. What's the difference between a woman with PMS and a terrorist? You can negotiate with a terrorist. How do you circumcise a hillbilly? You kick his sister in the jaw. I got a question. If a midget tells you your hair smells nice, is that sexual harassment? Girls, what if I told you there's something you can put behind your ears to make men attracted to you? Ankles. What did one lesbian vampire say to the other lesbian vampire? Same time next month. What's the difference between an oral and a rectal thermometer? The taste. What's the difference between a girl who's hungry and a girl who's horny? Where the cucumber goes. What's the lesbian version of cock blocking? A beaver dam. How did Burger King get Dairy Queen impregnated? He forgot to wrap his Whopper. What does a perverted frog say? Rub it. How do you get a pool table to laugh? You tickle its balls. What do a nearsighted gynecologist and a puppy have in common? A wet nose. What do you call an Italian hooker? Prostitute. What is long, hard, and full of semen? A submarine. What is the best thing about dating homeless chicks? You can drop them off anywhere. What does tofu and dildos have in common? They're both substitutes for meat. What did the toaster say to a slice of bread? I want you inside me. What is the difference between a G-spot and a golf ball? A guy will take the time to search for a golf ball. What do you call a virgin on a waterbed? A cherry float. What do you call two lesbians in a closet? A liquor cabinet. What do you call a girl who can run faster than her 6 brothers in West Virginia? A virgin. What kind of bees make milk? Boobies. What do you call an expert fisherman? A masturbator. What does a woman and Kentucky Fried Chicken have in common? By the time you finish with the breasts and the thighs, all you're left with is a greasy box to put your bone in. What do you call a nun in a wheelchair? Virgin Mobile. What do you see when the Pillsbury Doughboy bends over? Donuts. How do you know you have a high sperm count? When your girl has to chew before she swallows. What do you call the use of skin around a dick? A man. What you call an Afghanistan virgin? Never been laden. Why was the 2-piece bathing suit invented? To keep the hairy from the dairy. What should you do if your girlfriend starts smoking? Slow down and use lubricant. A man and a wife are walking out of a bar. The wife looks over and sees this guy and he's really, really drunk. She stares at him. The husband's like, "Who is he?" She goes, "Well, 10 years ago, he proposed to me and I rejected him." Husband says, "Damn, he's still celebrating?" Teacher once pointed a ruler at me and said, "At the end of this, there's an idiot. I got detention for asking which end." Story time. When I was in high school, my girlfriend, at the time, wanted me to have sex with her on the hood of her Honda Civic. She got fucking mad at me because I said, "No! If I'm gonna have sex, it's gonna be on my own accord." I got some advice for people out there. Never break anyone's heart. They only have one, but they have 206 bones. A Catholic girl went into church one day, went to the priest, and said, "I'm pregnant." He asked, "How did this happen, my child?" She says, "I think it's the second coming." The priest was shocked and bothered by this, and he replied by, "What makes you think it's the second coming?" She goes, "Because I swallowed the first." Story time. So I took my girl out drinking. You know, having a good old time doing her thing. On the way out, I noticed this blonde was about to walk in. Very, very nice looking blonde, by the way. And me being a gentleman, I opened the door. Girl looks at me and says, "You never open the door for me." I said, "Oh yeah? What about that time you threatened to leave?" Careful what you wish for, bitch. So today, a feminist asked me, how do I view lesbian relationships? Apparently, HD is not the correct answer. So the girlfriend gets out of the shower. She looks at me and says, "I shaved my pussy today, you know what that means?" I said, "Yeah, the fucking drain is clogged again, right?" So I told my girl she should, embrace her mistakes. The bitch hugged me. What did the left pussy lip say to the right pussy lip? "We were really tight until you let this dick come between us." Why doesn't Santa have any kids? Because he comes once a year and it's always down her chimney. What do you call a dwarf Eskimo with a heart on? A frigid midget with a rigid digit. What do you get when you cross a hooker with a systems engineer? A fucking know-it-all. What do you call a blonde doing a handstand? A brunette with bad breath. How can you tell if a blonde's having a bad day? She has a tampon behind her ear and she can't find her cigarette. What do a pizza boy and a gynecologist have in common? They both can smell it, but they can't eat it. What do you call 2 jalapenos fighting? Fucking hot. How do you make your girl scream during sex? You call her during it. How is sex like bridge? Well, if you got a good hand, you don't need a partner. What do you call a herd of cows masturbating? Beef stroganoff. How is a push-up bra like a bag of chips? Because when you open it, you realize it's half empty. What does a leper say after he has sex with a prostitute? You can keep the tip. What do you call an anorexic woman with a yeast infection. A quarter pounder with cheese. What is the last thing that a Tickle Me Elmo receives before he leaves the toy factory? 2 testicles. What's green and smells like pork? Kermit the Frog's fingers. What do you call a lesbian dinosaur? A lickalolopus. We were having a conversation today, and the topic of who will go down as the biggest hoe in history. All the guys said their brew points, and then they're like, what about you, Hood Yoda? What do you think? And I said, well, that's simple. That's Miss Pac-Man. You give that bitch 25 cents, she'll eat balls until she dies. Alright, peoples, that was this week's episode of Life with Hood Yoda. Different surroundings, I know, right? It's crazy. Like, share, subscribe, and comment below. You keep doing this, I keep doing this, we do our thing. So remember, when life makes fun of you, you make fun of life. And as always, be good people.